In 1978, the African American community of Albina produced 5 murals of Portland history without the help of public funding. The community was activated by a need to make and represent their identity in the Albina area when they were being ignored by the community at large.
I think it means a lot to the black community because it shows a lot about black history and means a lot to the black people in the community.
The murals created a visible landmark of the African American community in Albina, depicting their history in the area. This history was not taught at this time in any other form.
It showed how things should be changed and showed how black people were treated in those days for Martin Luther King made the civil rights, how he was shot violently down in Atlanta, Georgia.
Due to vandalism, the murals were destroyed or removed 5 years later, disconnecting this identity from its place. The murals that remain from this period have been moved or no longer represent the demographic of the area. While they still depict their story, the connection to the community has been lost. In an attempt to connect to the displaced African American community of Albina, the Portland Development Commission built the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard Gateway and Heritage Markers. The idea was to create an open space for community to gather while acknowledging the economic and cultural past. Predominantly experienced from vehicles, the park-like space behind the large, curving steel wall is ignored. The heritage markers connecting this space to the area get lost, and it is deserted. The monument, originally meant to represent a gateway to the Albina neighborhood, becomes a forced confrontation of a painful past of a lost community. Lewis and Clark College made a similar attempt to honor African American history in the area by commissioning a statue of York. The statue depicts him as a key figure of the Lewis and Clark expedition, while acknowledging his role as a slave with a map drawn by William Clark on his back.
And this map by William Clark has been scarified onto York's back. So he is very literally and metaphorically carrying the burden of the Corps of Discovery on his physical back.
To me, an event like commemorating York with the statue at Lewis and Clark, that's just a part of regaining access to that story.
A full understanding of the statue is missed due to its placement off a main walkway, making his back and the additional quotes on the ground unseen by the students passing by. While acknowledging this history is important, the impact of his presence is lessened because African Americans are not well represented by the student body. At Dawson Park in the Albina neighborhood, a small collection of rocks tries to represent the vast African American history of the area. Williams Avenue along the east side of Dawson Park was a predominantly African American commercial district. The center of this commercial district was a drugstore a few blocks south from the park. This section of the building was destroyed. The dome from this drugstore now resides on the gazebo. The park was a place of community engagement in a time of redlining and the civil rights movement. The rock sculpture was a part of a larger renovation of the park in 2014, after many years of disrepair. The quotes etched into the rocks represents a community largely gone from this area due to urban renewal and gentrification. While attempting to memorialize African American history in public space, it should be acknowledged that these spaces are not creating engagement with that community.